As we continue with this I Ching, occult I Ching, we want to mention too that when you see the name of this, it's OC1 or OC2, or I'm saying OCI 1, 2, 3, and 4. That means occult I Ching. I'm abbreviating it so I don't have to write it that long. Now, actually, before she gets into the I Ching, and there's where it is, she begins with the DIAMONIC, path to inner knowledge. Now, that comes from Carl Gustav Jung and some others who say that is the intuitive side of man, the subconscious. That's the part of you that has two sides in it that you can face and that you have to deal with. And in this, she has many, many things to say about it, again, plus quotes, either from other authors or from herself. Because not only does she write this, she has written about many things, and she also some very interesting things on Facebook herself. So this is what she does in the very beginning. And then when you get to the secrets of the ancient serpents, she gets to the origins of the I Ching and serpent divination. She goes through all of that with pictures. Then the next section, she goes through divination and serpents. By the way, she has pictures in here to make her point with words underneath them. And you can see here's another one. Because she goes into many ancient sources where she thinks this comes from, not just from China itself. Then she goes to the power of the Gua, that is to say, these three-lined figures here that are put together to make up the 6 lines that create each hexagram. So that's what she's talking about here. By the way, she does quote Richard Wilhelm's translation often in here, besides Karcher. Then the nature of daemons, dialogue with daemons, and then the I Ching and the healing and martial arts. It's the next section she goes through here. And she relates it also to Zen. And then she goes DNA, the I Ching and daemons. Now, there is another book that was written that deals specifically with DNA and the I Ching, and she does mention that, and she quotes it, and she deals with Leibniz in his use of the I Ching as well. So that is a fascinating section. And she said, then why is it important to access this data and evolve, with a quote from someone else right there. And then she goes into that whole section. And then she goes into an extra instructions and consideration on using the oracle, how you use it, whether you use coins or sticks. And then she has, of course, this section here, which is in every I Ching book, with the bagua on the side and on top, and then the hexagrams in the middle, so you can put those together and find out which hexagram you are going to get when you use coins to toss them. And then this section here, which is very helpful, which she puts together, is a picture actually of the text that we have and what you find when you go to those sections of the text. Now, I will mention something about that too, which is, let me go on to this. And the spiritual implications of the I Ching is something else. Now, then, when you go to the actual texts, to the lines, here is another thing that's very important that I don't see in anyone. Each line, of course, starts from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each line, they can be solid or changing lines. Or open lines with a gap in them, not changing lines. But normally there's no particular name given to each of those lines. But what she does, she gives each of those a category. For example, line 1 she calls the self. Line 2 she calls the other. Line 3 she calls union. Line 4 she calls the earth. Line 5 she calls conflict. And line 6 she calls heaven. And then, of course, in each one of these, she'll go to, if they are all changing lines, what you will receive next. And also, what is interesting is that in each of these, that is the same thing with her drawings. Now, for example, here is another example, hexagram 26, called the restraint. There you see the two gua together to make up the hexagram. There's the actual name of it, the Chinese English. There's the ancient Chinese symbol. And there's what it actually means. And then her commentary. But you see, then her drawing on the first section, again, is a very good illustration from her drawing of what this means. And it's always a quote that it comes from underneath to make it even clearer. And then the I Ching card in this case happens to be Chariot. Now, why is it Chariot when it says up here restraint? Now, when you look up the I Ching cards, you will find out why, which is fascinating, and so on. Now, also what she does at the end is that she has notes on some of it, but not only that, she has other sections that are even different. She has, for example, the future of ancient technology. And then at the end of that, indeed, she has divination, artificial intelligence, and then machines mimicking life. And then finally, she has notes, and then you get to an index at the end, which is, first a bibliography, which is very good, and then an index at the end. So if you look up these in this index, it will tell you on what page in here you will find that information. Now that is extremely helpful as well. So, and this book gets tremendous praise for those who have read it. This is a sample of this, which I will continue to use for quite a while because it is completely unique. If any of you can afford to get this, I suggest it's a wonderful buy if you're interested in the I Ching. I suggest this highly. And thank you for watching this short introduction to this book. And I wish you a very pleasant, happy day and a wonderful new year.